Hello, hello. Welcome again to the Sacred and Rooted podcast. This is my second episode, and so I'm really excited that you're here. I'm your host, Lisa Nickel, your meditation coach, teacher, guide, and today I'd like to discuss a really important topic, something that a lot of women that I speak to and work with struggle with, and it is how to take a leap into something new. And so, we as women not so much but we do a lot of things. We have a very full life, taking care of everyone around us and making sure everything's going well for everyone, and doing a lot of things that maybe we should do, not so much, want to do, or really, it doesn't really light us up as much as maybe something else could. So how do we take action? So, if we have something in our hearts that we want to do, or something that's been calling us for a while, and we sort of just keep, pushing it away, shoving it under the rug, ignoring it, or thinking, of course I'll get to it once whatever is finished or done, or, once the kids move out, or anything, any excuse you can think of. And so how do we be bold enough to just take the leap? And it's not just women, it's men too. As far as, as humans in general, we like to, we're comfortable where we are. We know, it's like the devil, your existence right now, you're comfortable with, you're familiar with how it works or how it goes. And so there is like a safety feeling with that. And jumping out and doing something different, there's who knows what might happen, right? So we need to understand and deeply realize that, a really meaningful and fulfilling life is full of discomfort, little mini discomforts, in the sense that you are called to, evolve and grow. And that is not always, a fun process, as we all know. However, it is a satisfying process at the end when you can look back and say, look at what I've accomplished, look what I've experienced, look what I've done. There's a sense of pride there that, and by just simply doing what your heart calls you to do, whether it works out the way you hope or not, it's almost like just the actual journey of that is what it is. Like it's beautiful, and it's satisfying, and it's in a way that getting a raise maybe isn't as satisfying, because your soul is like fed by that, by the fact that it is now able to be out in the world and express itself without hiding, without rules, without what have you. There's just such a glory to that, and I don't know, I just keep visualizing like a person with rays of light kind of beaming out from them, like you're radiant when you are doing something that really your soul calls you to do. So with that said, you could be, maybe right now, maybe in the past, for sure in the future at some point, you could be staring down discomfort and wondering, this thing keeps, niggling at my ear. I want to do it. I don't know how. I'm not sure what people will think. Maybe, should I really bother, kind of thing. And I'm here to tell you, now is the time to step into your fullest expression. The world is a bit of a mess, to put it lightly. And we're all here for, we're all here to contribute, to weave the threads of a new world, and to really step into all of the power that we have within ourselves, to create something that we can all be proud of, that works for everybody, that works better for us individually as well as collectively. And so, yes, please, have the courage to step forward and to do the thing that you have been putting off, that you don't think maybe people will, what will people think? How will it be received? There is a beauty in just simply doing it and then letting it go and seeing, who knows, like your responsibility is, to bring forth your gifts. How it is received and, what happens after that is out of your control. So don't get caught up in that. Simply create, do the thing that you want to do, and in the action of that, you will find a meaning and a fulfillment that you probably or may not have ever experienced before, because you will finally feel free and like able to do whatever you want in the world. With you've let go of all of your preconceived notions and limiting beliefs. Like, you've just gone and done it. The world didn't end. You still get up in the morning. It's a great day. Okay, so let's in an attempt to make this a little bit more systematic, so that you don't get kind of caught up in a lot of the doubts and fears. And so to simplify the process, I have these 3 tips to make taking action on your dreams a little bit easier. And so the first tip is something that I do, I do all the time. You need to practice getting clear with yourself. Whether there is, especially when you're really struggling with making a decision, it is tricky to distinguish all the time your ego fears versus your intuition, and what is what's what. And so then maybe you think I really shouldn't, like, I have all these good reasons why I shouldn't do it now, and it's just the fear talking louder than your intuition. And your ego will totally throw up a million roadblocks and a million things to get in your way, because your ego is trying to protect you. It's not some evil thing. It's just trying to protect you from, doing something other than your normal stuff, because it knows it's not sure how it will go. And so your ego wants to be sure. And to be sure, you need to be doing whatever you always are doing. And so anytime you go kind of out of your zone of, comfort, you are going to get like a flare up of your ego fears and a whole bunch of limiting beliefs. And just to expect that, it's totally normal. And so just keep walking. But one really simple way is to really sit with yourself. And you don't have to do this all in one day. Like, this could be over weeks if it's a big thing you're considering, and months even. I mean, I've sat on decisions for a while, just to see how things play out, because there are lots of different things to consider, especially when there's other people involved, and how everything will come together. So what I think I'm saying, to put it in a nutshell, is to get clear with yourself. And so the way to do that is to really meditate, and to get quiet with yourself and to sit in silence so that you can start to hear your own divine wisdom, your own inner voice louder than you normally would during the day when you have a million things going on or what have you. So to get into a practice of sitting in silence or meditating in silence, journaling with the universe, these things build your muscle so that you end up with a bit of a comfort level with, hearing yourself and following your own wisdom, which sounds simple enough, but it is more challenging than you would think. And so just to get into that habit so that when you do come up with these things and you do have these dreams and hopes that you'd like to have in the future, it's easier to distinguish when your ego starts yapping at full blast and, which voice in your head is the ego, which is the, your intuition and your soul calling you, to just make that, the easier it is for you to distinguish between the two, the easier it will be for you to follow your dreams. And the more you do trust your intuition and your instincts, the easier it'll get each time. And so it is literally like a muscle where the practice and, working on it in small decisions really, when it comes to bigger ones, it makes it a lot easier to just go for it because you know that it's, if it hasn't let you down yet, sort of thing. So that's number one. Try a practice that will get you clear with yourself. Who's your ego? What's your ego? What's your intuition? And the next episode 3, I will get into that, like ways that you can really hone in on your intuition and your inner voice so that it is a practice that you're used to, listening to, receiving guidance from, and that kind of thing. So don't worry. The second tip for taking a leap into something new is ask yourself this question and journal on it, meditate on it, whatever you like. But in 5 or 10 years, would you regret not following your heart? Would you regret not doing something? Sometimes it's easy to work yourself into circles and circles and circles. And then you're not, you have no idea which way's up. You're completely mixed up in indecision. And so what do? You probably don't do anything and you just kind of freeze a little bit, right? And so trying to weigh the pros and cons and finding a rationale for your decision is so much more of a headache than just asking yourself, would I care about this in 5 or 10 years? If I didn't do this, in 5 or 10 years, would it be even a thing? Would it barely register as a problem or an event in my life? Or do you anticipate in 5 or 10 years looking back and thinking, oh my God, I totally should have gone for that? That helps me it pulls you out of the circle that you have yourself in where you're like, what the hell do I do? I don't know. It pulls you out and gives you that perspective, kind of like if you're climbing a mountain and then you can see the view when you get to the top. You can see the town maybe you're staying in, but it looks completely different. Like a different perspective really helps get clear on what you should do, what's best for you. Because following your heart is not a logical path. It's really complicated that way as far as trying, in our society, we have logical paths. So we have a whole bunch of logical paths that people should follow and do. And this is what being an adult's about. And you do this, then that, and then that, and that's your life. And so following your heart or following your soul's path, your soul's journey, is not a linear progression. And so that's where I think we get caught up a lot, where we're struggling between, trying to make it make sense for society, for our family, for the world, and then our heart's like, we really need to do this. And there's no good explanation maybe a lot of times for it, other than that's what you're called to do. And so the more people that, get comfortable with this way of feeling into what they should do and just going with it, the more permission it gives others, like around you, to actually do the same thing. And honestly, it's so much more satisfying and rewarding a life than simply staying in the lane you were in since high school or since college or university and just, doing what you should be doing. If that's not really something that you're called to do. All right. So, or even, it's not even work either. It could be work. It could be relationships. It could be a hobby. It could be something super creative. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It's exactly the same discussion, basically. So let's just agree to skip, the list of pros and cons and all the very logical and responsible reasons, for keeping your life the way it is now, because you'll be able to find tons of reasons. The problem with the pros and cons list is you can do the pros and cons for where you're at right now, like whatever your life looks like now. You're very capable of writing pros and cons. When you're looking at doing something different, it's really hard to know all the pros because you haven't done it yet. And so you're a little scared, because it is scary to take a step into something else that you've never done before. So the cons come easy. No problem, a whole list. And the pros are sort of these big ideas that you have, but they're not really fully sketched out because you haven't actually taken a step into the unknown. And so if you do want the pros and cons list, the biggest pro of doing something that your heart's calling you is obviously, like, that's what you're here to do, is to follow your heart. You're not here to do what your mom wants you to do or to not disappoint people, unfortunately. But you're here to do what you are here to do, which is follow your soul. Like, your soul has such infinite wisdom, and it's perfectly designed just for you. And so to take that and not use it as a compass and a roadmap is almost like a tragedy. It is a tragedy. So just, like, go for it, do it. And you can obviously do it in a responsible way. You don't have to, drop everything in your life and, like, go all in on this thing. Some people do that. Other people, especially if it's a job change, you can work part-time in your old job, or you can work full-time in your old job and start your new job, and kind of juggle it like that, so that in the world, you still have cash flow coming in that you can live off of. Like, you're not creating a situation where you're destitute, or that you are so stressed about the fact that you've just dropped everything for this thing that you are no longer in that creative flow, because you're constantly thinking about other things, like how are you going to eat today, or that sort of stuff. So yeah, journal on, meditate on, in 5 or 10 years, would you regret not following your heart? That's the crux of this second tip. Sorry, I got a little bit away from myself there. And if I'm really struggling with this, I'll even pose the question, on my deathbed, would I regret not doing, so it's like, okay, life or death here now, like, this is what it is. and it's a bit morbid maybe, but that sometimes breaks the tie for me or clarifies it for me, because, that's kind of the end of it, right? Like, you don't want to sit on your deathbed and think, oh, this or that or the other thing, I wish I would have done these things. All right, so that's number 2. The third and final tip I have for this podcast is, find your voice. It is, once you do, or even beforehand, you need to be able to communicate to others in your life in a way that will help make your hopes and dreams happen. And so, and always obviously be respectful, and they hopefully are respectful to you. But to really start making the first steps, because taking a leap into something new requires everyone around you to adjust a little bit, right? And hopefully you have people around you that love you and support you and, want the best for you. But it's also a change for them. And so you want to be able to communicate lovingly and clearly so that they understand sort of what their role is in whatever the new thing is. Like, if it's a job, then maybe it's, different hours that you're working. Maybe, you're doing it on the side in the meantime while you keep your old job. And so then it's going to impact some of your free time. And so somebody needs to pick up the kids instead of you, or take them to whatever activity. Maybe the kids need to take some more chores on in the house because you're trying to make some time for yourself to work on your hobby or work on your whatever project. And so these things, if they can be communicated, it's like everyone around you sort of, you're all on the same team. You're all like, okay, this is going to be great. And so everyone's on board. And also so that you don't get, resentment building up because, people should obviously know that you need more time, or they should, how can they want so much from you or whatever, like, to just speak what you need. This took me a long time to get straight with, I have to say. And a lot of women do struggle with it just because there is sort of a like a built-in from childhood sort of reaction or reflex to helping people. You want the best for everyone. And so whatever you can do to help them with their stuff, like endless things, you'll do, right? Except at the end of the day, you're not going to be, generous and loving and patient with people if you start to harness or harbor resentments because the things you want to do or the things you love and want to have attention on are not getting the time or the time of day or any sunlight because you're all over the place with other people's stuff. So, this is where the rubber hits the road and you kind of have to figure out, like, what's my plan? So, the first 2 steps were sort of, okay, getting clear on what you even want to do. And is this actually something that's important to you? And then this third tip is really where you have to sort of get creative. How are you going to make more time in your week or your month or your day to have this dream become reality? And it could be the people in your life could be kind of rearranged a little bit so that they do a little bit more, they take some stuff off your plate. You could hire somebody to help you do something that you used to do. Again, the kids could pitch in more because probably, I don't know about you, but at my house they could pitch in more for sure. So just like get creative. Like there's no limit to or like way that you have to do something. You can rearrange your life however works for you. It could be even as simple as how, reduce your scrolling or your time you spend watching TV, like things like that, where we just lose time and on stuff that means absolutely really hardly anything. And so if you want to replace it with something that really holds a spot in your heart, near and dear to you, then that is a great switch, right? And I think that's it for now. I think we'll keep it at 3 tips. I don't want to overwhelm you. I want to make sure that whatever you are, whatever you're considering, whatever you're feeling stretched or called to do, that you are encouraged to do it. And then also have some practical tips for like how to actually implement it. There was a lady that I listened to a while ago now. And I thought she had the most interesting suggestion because it was a podcast and it was 2 women. One was interviewing the other, and the one interviewing asked this lady, she was a businesswoman, and she asked her, what was the first hire that you made in your business when it got, going? And I thought the woman, would say something like, well, I hired like an admin, or I hired my assistant, or something like that. And she said she hired a laundry service. And that was her way of making space in her life for more of her business. And that was just sort of like totally off the wall to me, but awesome at the same time, because it just reinforced the fact that literally you could do anything. Like, just if you have your weekly set of things that you're doing, just look at it and say, like, who can I get? How could I get this off my plate? And whether it's within your family or literally you hire it out to someone else to do, it doesn't matter. It's whatever works for you. But be creative like that, not just, I don't know, like my kids, they already do so much, they're busy with their own work, whatever it is. But yeah, get creative, and then obviously it has to work for you, and so you are the expert in your life, and so see what you can come up with, brainstorm, and do it. You could do it with a friend, you could do it with your hubby, you could do it with whoever, somebody that you trust and like kind of, they're cheerleading you on. And so that would also help, because you have no idea, like some people have the most interesting ideas and it's just like, wow, I never thought of it like that, or I never would have figured that out, but I'm glad they said it because now I can use it in my life as well. All right, so the 3 tips again were: 1, get clear with yourself. So whether you meditate, whether you just, have time on your own, just walking in nature, something where you're just you, and you have some time to breathe, some time to just reconnect with your essence and your core. Tip number 2 was journal or ask yourself and reflect on, would you regret not doing the thing you're considering, if you look back in 5 years or 10 years. And then number 3 is to find your voice. So you are communicating with your loved ones and the people around you, what you're thinking of doing, what you think, how you think it could look, and get them to give ideas too, like get people to buy into it so that it's, it's a team effort, right? A family is a group effort. All right, so I think that's it. I hope this makes your decision-making process easier and less, less overwrought. And always know that I'm cheering you on as you align more and more with your soul's path. it will get easier. Like I said, it is a muscle. And so it will get easier and more synchronistic and magical. But sometimes there are points in your life where there's some decisions to make, and they are big and scary ones. And you seem to, it's just like your ego just goes out of control with the fear thoughts and just things, every reason you can think of, obviously, for not doing something or why you can't. But you're here for a reason. To follow. The reason is to bring your gifts to the world. And so I hope this podcast gives you a few ideas, a few insights, and you feel more energized than you had before on taking a leap into something new, whatever it is, big or small. All right, so that is the podcast. I hope to see you next time, and take care and have a great day.